I grew up in the golden age of cartoons. He-Man, G.I. Joe, Thundercats, Transformers. They were genius iterations of Fraser's hero's journey, but they were also basically toy commercials. They marketed overpriced pieces of plastic to children, interspersed with commercials for sugar-laced breakfast cereals that caused us to run around like maniacs while chasing the cat with our plastic swords of omens. They aired after school every day and weekends from 8 till noon. Outcry against the state of affairs led to legislation. The 1990 Children's Television Act limited the amount of commercial time during a given TV show, and in 1996, the FCC instituted a minimum number of hours of non-commercial educational programming per week. But capitalism seeks markets, and children are a particularly valued market. Advertisers want to be able to shape consumer habits that will last a lifetime. Today, the marketing is even more insidious than it was when I was a kid. It's in schools. It used to be that textbooks were paid for by public funds. However, as the use of computers has become more integrated into the classroom, many teachers now utilize educational websites that can provide useful additions to classroom instruction. Many of these websites are free, adding to their convenience. Well, if you're not paying for it, you're the product. Companies are willing to pay for access to your child's information and your child's eyeballs. Google has been fined for privacy violations in the past, and YouTube, a site that Google runs and which has many instructional and educational videos on it, tracks its users. G Suite records user information for other uses, including advertising, and while in-school ads are banned, there's nothing keeping them from targeting your children out of school. And of course, Google is only the biggest player in the game. There are 500,000 educational apps available for download, far too many for anyone to regulate. The in-school at-home dichotomy can be seen in something as ubiquitous as Minecraft. Minecraft is considered educational and pro-social when it is, in fact, like all video games, a commercial product. While Minecraft Education boasts that they respect student privacy and requires that their vendors do so as well, the addition of Minecraft that students then download at home makes no such promises. There are some steps that teachers can take to make sure the websites that they use in the classroom are not collecting data on their students. They can check the privacy policies of these websites before using them to see what they do with user data and make sure that these websites abide by data privacy laws like FERPA and COPPA. While many may shy away from this idea because a lot of privacy policies are lengthy and difficult to understand, one potential aid is the website tosdr.org, which breaks down a website's terms of service into easily understandable pieces of information that allow teachers to quickly assess whether or not a website should be used in the classroom. However, while there are some things teachers can do to safeguard students' privacy, they can't do it alone. More legislation centered around online privacy needs to be passed in order to ensure that students' online data remains protected. Advertising seems relatively harmless. Kids have been marketed to forever, and the baby boomers turned out okay despite the hula hoops and Davy Crockett coonskin caps. Well, we can imagine an even scarier situation today. That which can be used to market can also be used to monitor. Let's take Billy, for instance. Billy is quiet and shy. He has solid grades. He's also a bit of a morbid curiosity, as many of us did in junior high school. He Googles how many aspirin can you take before you die on his Chromebook. His search trips the district's algorithms, and Billy is met at his front door by a social worker. Maybe he's forced to see a therapist, or maybe he's made to go to an alternative school for kids with behavioral issues. It's all up to the bureaucracy at that point. In any case, his school experience will never be the same. We can imagine for kids who do other forbidden searches, such as for firearms or for serial killers, that even more drastic interventions may take place. It used to be that our darkest thoughts were private. Today, they find their way onto a Google search bar or onto social media. We have the right to digital privacy, but it's only a matter of time before they find their way into a social credit score. One maintained not by a government we can hold accountable, but by private companies responsible only to their shareholders. Best of all would be something like the European right to be forgotten, but for this to happen, we must think about how we're going to regulate tech companies. Everyone has a right to privacy, but kids even more so. Children's data is being collected young and used to both appeal to them and to shape them as consumers. It's time we did something about this. Thank you.